Hello, Aaron Marsters here with Nara Hayes, AT Specialist, and we are going to be talking about Clicker 7 Connect Sets today. In this, we're estimating a 5 to 10 minute video. We want to show you some of the main features of the Connect Set, how you might use it, and some different templates for you to reference. So first of all, Nara, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Super excited to share about Connect Sets.
All right, so we thought it'd be nice to just show you a Connect set first so we could describe how you might use it and what are some of the main features. What it does is it provides a scaffolded sentence structure that allows students to make choices to compose a sentence. Now they can use the grid down below here to put in words, and they can still directly type within the Word document as well. And with this, I started out with the sentence frame I like, and then the student is able to have the choice of what are the different things they like. So in this instance, I'm going to say I like iPads, and once I put in the
I
period,
like iPads.
it will read aloud. So this basically is a Connect set, and we want to show you some other examples. Nara, are there any other main features of the Connect set that really stand out to you?
I like that it has clusters of words for each section of the sentence,
Mm-hmm.
but that it allows students to create novel sentences.
Yes, so like this is an example of a cluster. So you could have many students writing sentences, and some might choose to say I like computers, while others might say I like music, and then they can then go in and add words as needed up there in the document. All right, so what we want to do first is show you some examples of Connect sets and where you can find these examples, because sometimes it's easier to adjust something that's already made than start from scratch. So I'm going to show you if to go to the folder with the red lightning bolt. That is going to bring up your search function. Make sure you're in Files, go to Learning Grids. And I just want to highlight that if you uncheck all of these, and they typically are all checked as a default, and just select Connect Sets, it will then filter out these 217 resources for you to review. And you can go ahead and search through by keyword, or you can navigate through these different pages. And if you want to run one of these Connect sets, you'll select Run Now, and it will automatically upload into your Clicker 7 for you to then choose. So I already showed you this Connect set. I'm going to show you one that I got from Learning Grids, and this is a daily check-in, where the student will then choose choose the day, and then they will navigate to the next page, and they can talk about how they're feeling. They can talk about their emotions and how they're feeling at home, at school, their friendships. So this is an example of a structured task where, again, we start out with the basic start of the sentence, but then they're able to customize it based off of their feelings, the day of the week, who it is that they're looking to talk about. Another one, going more to math, is starting out with you're able to put in a picture within your Connect set. And then the students here are encouraged to start out the sentence, identify the number in the picture, and then finish the sentence with that different set. This is a nice one. It's set up for Father's Day messages, but one thing I want to remind you is that if you want to edit this Connect set and change it for Mother's Day, you can hold down the Shift button, left click on a word, and actually change the word directly within that cell. And it can turn into a Mother's Day activity, it could turn into a grandparents. And so with this one, it's writing a letter, and they have different sample messages starting at the top here. Then going to your second message, having a closure, student names. So if you had all the students in your class, they could all use this to make their individualized letter to their family member. And then you even have the ability to insert pictures. And this is a final example that I'm going to open this up to Nara. This is something that she worked on in coordination with her ET in a second grade class. And this was a Connect set that they created. And could you go into some detail about what this looked like?
So the class had read Officer Buckle and Gloria, and so they were writing stories about accidents or injuries that they've had. And so, together with the ET, we created this Connect set. She wanted to have sentence starters, so we used the cells at the top for sentence starters. And then she also wanted to have body parts, setting words, and other words related to injuries or accidents. And so we came up with the format of the page, but we really only had maybe one or two cells filled out because when we met together with the students, we had them help us fill
So
out these different cells.
so you didn't come up with wedding and on the mountain and parking car. You actually had the students, you were talking and brainstorming, and they gave some of the locations.
Yes.
Awesome. And so same with the body parts. They're the ones that told what things they've hurt in their lives.
Yes. And so we had a whole class, so we kind of had to do some raising of hands and voting to figure out which words made the most sense to add. So not every student would have every word
Were the
to
students
describe.
motivated to be part of this activity?
They were engaged from at the point of creating the Connect set up to writing.
Okay.
It was pretty powerful.
Now, when I first looked at this, I thought this was a little busy. Did the students do okay with all these words on one grid, or was it overwhelming for them?
So this is a second grade classroom, and they didn't have any difficulty navigating between the different cells on the Connect set or moving between the pages.
Because I do see there's some other pages here with different transition words and some different sentence starters. And
So the second page had sequence words and thought feeling words, where the third one I think had maybe lessons learned and conclusion words.
okay. And did you see a difference in the student writing samples between their handwriting and just basic writing with paper and pencil versus their computer, or were the results fairly comparable?
So the sentences that they produced using the Connect set were much more complex. The vocabulary words that they chose to use in their writing were, I'd say, things that they were willing to try because they had these different supports. They had word prediction built into the keyboard, and they had this Connect set. And so when I looked at their writing paper, pencil, or handwriting samples, handwritten samples, it wasn't quite as complex or lengthy sentences,
Okay.
and their word choices were maybe a little simpler.
Now I noticed with this, I don't. It looks like I would struggle to write a complete sentence with this template. So were the students only supposed to use these words, or were they instructed also to type as well?
The students had the option of using the Connect set or moving over to the built-in keyboard or just using the keyboard on the computer.
All right. Terrific. So we have given you a lot of different examples to look at, and now we want to spend a few minutes to show you how. If you want to create your own or go into some advanced editing, you will go into, there's a couple different ways. What I recommend is if you go to the clicker set, top tab, and click on New, it's going to bring up this menu. And we're going to show you to go to Connect Set. And it's going to start out with a basic grid. And so we're going to start our grid by saying this is going to be IC. And I have these cells. And if I'm going to start out with my basic sentence set being I, and then if I don't want anything else on this one, I can hit delete. And so I is now kind of standalone. And then I can choose the verb see. Are there any other verbs we should put in there?
Maybe look,
Look.
notice, and Aaron, I think
Uh-huh.
that if you click into that cluster, you could put all the cluster content just up in the top line.
Yes, you can. So you can go directly in there, or you can. So I'm going to click on add. Oops. So in this one, I could type in what are some things I see. I see a door. I see a friend.
Fan.
I see a fan, I see a computer, I see a dog. And so as you see, it's putting those commas in, so I'm going to remove those.
And again, Aaron, if you wanted to say something like school bag or lunchbox and you wanted to keep those two words together, you could put a parentheses around that phrase.
Perfect. Yep, remember the parentheses. I'm going to go here, I'm going to delete that cell 4. And so now what we've done is we've created this sequence from left to right. And I might have to put in one here. If I was to add something, I'm going to add before. And I might put in a, the, an.
And Aaron, when you're in the different cells, if you want, you at the bottom, oops, you can change the height of the cells, or you can randomize the order, or so change the order.
Yes, you can. And you can also then go ahead and select the colors as well. I think so. I like to have the cells a little bit different, each cell a little bit different color. And my period right now is taking up a lot of space on the right side, so I typically like to shrink that. And now, if I was to close out of the edit clicker set, this could be my sentence template. And if I want to go back in and edit, one thing is if I choose to add a picture, I can select the word, and there's a little picture icon that comes up. And it will allow me to then, it'll search through your computer for images. And if you have something named a door, you can go ahead and put that in. What I like about this is I can also do guided order for your students that need maximal support. And what that does is if I click out of that, all of these options are grayed out. I can't select them. So it's going to take me from left to right. I see a dog.
I see a dog.
So what it's going to do is it's going to force me to go in sequence to then compose a sentence. But it does give me more options so that I can choose what word do I want within this grid, or within this cell, or cluster, I should say. And then what word do I want within this cluster, and then what word do I want within this cluster. So it gives me structure, but it also gives me some added choice. Nara, is there anything else that you use when you were in the edit clicker set or the connect set?
I think it can be powerful to change the layout. Sometimes if you want to put the cluster or your sentence starters at the top, I think it really depends on maybe the project, what your writing assignment.
So you do have the choice of adjusting the cluster on top or left to right. You can also put in, if you want an image, we talked about before, you can do the image search like I demonstrated with door. You can use the drawing tool to actually draw a picture of something, or you can use your web camera. And that will go ahead and insert that image directly in there. If this is a great start, but you want to have another writing prompt, but you like the layout of this, you can duplicate over here on the left-hand side, and then you could go ahead and then edit the word. So instead of I could say we, and I could then change these if I wanted to. But this allows you, if you get a template that you really like, go ahead and duplicate it, and then you can edit and change things here. You can change the cell colors. You can give, you can choose to show text, not show text. So in some instances, what you'll do is you'll put in a picture. So I might have instead of for door here, if I just wanted the picture of a door, I could click on that remove show text, or I could put the show text in there. So when you're trying to put in images of things, you can choose, do you want the text to go with it, or you want it to be standalone? All right, and then an important thing is once you go through and you've done all this work and you've customized, make sure you're in your clicker set tab and you go up here to save and hit save as. And when you hit save as, you're going to want to save it probably to the common drive. But then I also like, if I've spent a lot of time making these special clicker sets, I'll also want to save it somewhere else, like to my teacher drive or to on my computer. So that way if a student accidentally deletes everything or goes in and changes something, I have that backup available without it causing a whole lot of stress or lost time.
Maybe teachers are wondering, why would you duplicate those pages? If you were working on an I see, I hear, maybe a census unit, you could really quickly edit and change those pages.
That's a great idea. So yes, if right now I'm doing I see, I hear, I feel, if we're talking about the characters in the book, it might be one is describing pirates, the next one is describing superheroes, the next one is describing literary characters. So one could be No David, one could be, Harry Potter. It just depends. So depending on what you're writing about and the interests of the class, you can choose to have a different page so that this doesn't get too busy. Because if I put all the characters that are in a book, I'm going to use up my whole grid with just the characters, where if I make one for each group, for each character, then the student would then go through and have the ability to tab through and move to the next one. All right, well, if there are any questions that come up with this, please let us know. We can adjust the training further, but this is just a kind of a quick overview to get you started using Connect Sets. They are one of our favorite tools for doing structured writing tasks for our young students and for our moderate to severe students, K through 12. Use the pre-made grids on the Learning Grid site, but also make sure that you know how to go into that Edit Clicker Set or go into the Clicker Set and choose New to create your own, play around, and see what works for you. And if you do create an awesome template that your kids absolutely love, please email Nara and I and share it so we can celebrate in your success and maybe share with others. Nara, is there anything else that we should say before we go?
Aaron, are teachers familiar with the fact that you can be in the Connect set and then have the keyboard? Go to the keyboard just within
That's a
the
great.
Connect set?
So here I am within a Connect set, and I can manually type directly on a computer, or I can go ahead and use the green tab over here to show the keyboard, and this provides me an on-screen keyboard with built-in word prediction. So, and then I can toggle between that by closing that out. Is that what you were referencing?
Yes, and I also think this can be powerful because you could create this for a whole class for students to use individually, and then the student who needs guided access can have that on their Connect set, but it's not on everybody. So it's really nice because you can quickly individualize on the fly.
So I might have a Connect set that is not guided order, and that's what the whole class opens, and then I quickly run over to Aaron's computer and I click on Edit Connect Set, guided order, and now that student then has the supports they need to move forward without getting frustrated. All right, well this is, I hope you found this helpful, and we will continue our series on Clicker 7 as we move through the year on different topics.